As the final days of Ramadan quietly approach, the atmosphere begins to change in a way that is difficult to explain, but deeply felt by every believing heart. The nights grow heavier with meaning, the mosques feel more alive, and the silence before dawn seems to carry a special kind of mercy. These last 10 nights are not ordinary nights. They are nights filled with opportunity, forgiveness, and a chance to reconnect with the purpose of our existence. Many of us start Ramadan with strong motivation, beautiful goals, and long lists of things we want to accomplish. We promise ourselves that this Ramadan will be different. We promise that we will pray more, reflect more, give more, and become better versions of ourselves. Yet as the days pass, the routine of life slowly returns. Work continues, responsibilities remain, and sometimes our energy fades. But then the last 10 nights arrive like a powerful reminder from Allah that the greatest moments of Ramadan are still ahead. Imagine a traveler who has been walking through a long desert journey. For days the road has been difficult, the sun has been intense, and the destination seemed far away. Suddenly, in the distance, the traveler sees a beautiful oasis filled with water, shade, and rest. The last 10 nights of Ramadan are that oasis. They are the moment when the doors of mercy are wide open, when every sincere prayer can reach the heavens, and when one night can be better than 1,000 months. Within these nights lies a gift so extraordinary that it can change the course of a person's life forever. A single night of sincere worship can outweigh more than 80 years of ordinary effort. It is a reminder that Allah does not measure our success only by quantity, but by sincerity, effort, and the depth of our hearts. But the truth is that these nights pass quickly. One moment they arrive, and before we realize it, Ramadan is gone. Many people look back afterward with a heavy feeling in their hearts, wishing they had prayed more, asked for forgiveness more, or simply taken the time to truly be present with their Creator. The wise believer understands that these nights are not guaranteed to return next year. This Ramadan may be our last chance to stand in the quiet darkness of the night and whisper our hopes, fears, and regrets directly to Allah. These nights are not about perfection. They are about sincerity. They are about turning back to Allah with a heart that is honest, humble, and hopeful. Whether it is a tear shed during a late night prayer, a quiet dua made in the stillness before Fajr, or a simple act of kindness done purely for the sake of Allah, every effort matters. So as these final nights unfold, let them not slip away like ordinary moments. Let them become nights of reflection, nights of gratitude, and nights of deep connection. Fill them with prayer, with remembrance, with heartfelt supplication, and with the sincere hope that Allah will accept even the smallest effort. Because sometimes the greatest transformations in our lives happen in the quietest moments of the night, when the world is asleep, but a believer stands before their Lord with hope in their heart and a prayer on their lips. The last 10 nights of Ramadan carry a value that is far greater than what many people realize. Throughout the entire year, moments come and go, days pass, and weeks disappear into routine. Yet these nights arrive with a special weight in the sight of Allah, filled with mercy, forgiveness, and opportunities that cannot be found at any other time. They are not simply the closing days of Ramadan, they are the most precious portion of the entire month, the time when the doors of mercy open wider and the chances for acceptance multiply beyond. Within these nights lies one night so powerful that Allah describes it as better than 1,000 months. That is more than 80 years of worship placed within a single night. Imagine a person standing in prayer, making sincere dua, seeking forgiveness with humility, and every moment of that worship being rewarded as if it continued for decades. This is not a metaphor or exaggeration. It is a divine promise meant to awaken the hearts of believers and remind them that these nights carry treasures beyond measure. The companions of the Prophet understood the value of these nights deeply. As soon as the final 10 nights began, their routine changed completely. Their focus shifted away from distractions and toward devotion. Sleep became less important, comfort became less important, and every moment of the night was treated as a priceless opportunity. They knew that time is one of the most valuable gifts Allah gives to humanity, and in these nights that becomes even more precious. Every sunset during these last 10 nights signals the arrival of another chance to be forgiven, another opportunity to erase past mistakes, another moment where a sincere heart can draw closer to Allah. A person who truly understands their value does not treat them like ordinary nights. Each one becomes a doorway to mercy, a quiet meeting between a servant and their Creator, a chance to ask, to reflect, to hope, and to believe in the endless generosity of Allah. Seeking closeness to Allah during the last 10 nights of Ramadan is more than performing acts of worship. It is a journey of the heart. Many people focus on the quantity of what they do, how many units of prayer they complete, how many pages they recite, or how long they remain awake in the night. While these actions are beautiful and valuable, the deeper purpose behind them is to strengthen the relationship between the servant and the Creator. These nights are an invitation to reconnect with Allah in a sincere and personal way. Closeness to Allah begins with awareness. It is the realization that Allah sees every effort, hears every whispered prayer, and understands every feeling hidden in the heart. When a person stands in prayer during the quiet hours of the night, when the world around them is silent and still, it becomes a moment of intimacy between the servant and the one who created them. In that stillness, a believer is able to reflect on their life, their struggles, their hopes, and their mistakes, knowing that they are speaking to the most merciful. Sometimes people think that closeness to Allah requires perfection, that they must have flawless worship or a completely pure past before they can feel worthy of turning to Him. In reality, the path to Allah begins with humility. It begins when a person recognizes their weaknesses, admits their mistakes, and sincerely asks for forgiveness. The heart softens when it realizes that no matter how many times it has fallen, the door of mercy remains open. The last 10 nights provide a unique environment for this connection to grow. The atmosphere of Ramadan, the prayers in the night, the recitation of the Quran, and the feeling that millions of believers around the world are turning to Allah at the same time create a powerful spiritual energy. Every moment becomes an opportunity to remember Allah, to ask for guidance, to seek forgiveness, and to strengthen the bond between the servant and their Lord. The beauty of the last 10 nights of Ramadan is that extraordinary rewards are not limited to extraordinary actions. Simple acts of worship, when performed with sincerity and presence of heart, can transform an ordinary night into a moment of immense spiritual value. Many people assume that they must perform long prayers or complete large portions of recitation to benefit from these nights, yet the reality is that even small, consistent acts can carry great weight. In the sight of Allah, a quiet moment of sincere supplication can hold more power than a long list of words spoken without reflection. When a believer raises their hands in the darkness of the night and asks Allah for forgiveness, guidance, and mercy, that moment becomes deeply meaningful. It is not about the length of the prayer, but the sincerity within it. A single heartfelt dua, spoken with humility and hope, can reach the heavens and change the direction of a person's life. Reciting even a few verses of the Quran with understanding can also transform the heart. When a person pauses to reflect on the words of Allah, thinking about their meaning and how they apply to their own life, the experience becomes more than simple recitation. It becomes a conversation between the believer and their Creator, a moment where guidance enters the heart and begins to shape actions and decisions. Acts of kindness and charity during these nights also hold incredible value. A small donation, a meal shared with someone in need, or even a kind word spoken to another person can become a form of worship when it is done for the sake of Allah. These simple gestures remind believers that worship is not limited to prayer alone, but includes every good action performed with sincerity. Even moments of remembrance, quietly repeating words of praise and gratitude, can fill the night with blessings and reward. The tongue moves gently with phrases of remembrance, while the heart reflects on the mercy and generosity of Allah. Intention is the quiet force behind every action a believer performs, shaping the value of worship in ways that cannot be seen by others. During the last 10 nights of Ramadan, intention becomes even more important, because these nights are filled with countless opportunities for reward, yet the true weight of every act depends on the sincerity within the heart. Two people may perform the same prayer, recite the same verses, or give the same charity, but the one whose heart is filled with sincere intention will find far greater acceptance with Allah. A sincere intention begins when a person reminds themselves why they are worshipping in the first place. It is not for praise, recognition, or to appear more devoted in the eyes of others. It is purely for the pleasure of Allah, for the hope of His mercy, and for the desire to strengthen the connection between the servant and the Creator. When this awareness settles in the heart, even the smallest action begins to feel meaningful. Consistency is another powerful element that brings intention to life. The last 10 nights can sometimes feel overwhelming, with many people trying to do everything at once, staying awake the entire night, attempting long prayers, and pushing themselves beyond their limits. While enthusiasm is beautiful, what truly carries weight is steady devotion that continues night after night. A person who prays a few sincere units every night, who consistently remembers Allah, and who repeatedly turns to Him with humility may gain more benefit than someone who exhausts themselves for a single night and then loses their energy. Sincerity also means being honest with oneself during worship. It means pausing to reflect, allowing the heart to feel the words being spoken, and remembering that Allah is aware of every thought and intention. In those quiet moments of prayer and remembrance, the believer renews their intention again and again, focusing not on how much they do, but on the purity and truthfulness of why they do it. One of the most powerful realizations a believer can have during the last 10 nights of Ramadan is the understanding that these nights are never guaranteed to return. Every year, Ramadan arrives as a beautiful gift, filling hearts with hope, mercy, and the opportunity for a new beginning. Yet life is uncertain, and time moves forward without pause. The Ramadan we are experiencing today may be the final Ramadan for many people around the world, and that thought alone carries a weight that should awaken the heart and stir the soul. When a person reflects deeply on this reality, the way they view these nights begins to change. They are no longer seen as routine parts of the calendar or simply the closing days of the month. Instead, each night becomes a rare and priceless opportunity. The quiet hours before dawn become moments filled with urgency and sincerity, because a believer realizes that this may be their last chance to stand in prayer, to raise their hands in dua, and to ask Allah for forgiveness with complete humility. Many people look back at past Ramadans with regret, remembering nights that were lost in distraction or moments when they delayed acts of worship, thinking there would always be another chance. The truth is that time never repeats itself in the same way. Once a moment passes, it becomes a memory that cannot be reclaimed. The last 10 nights remind believers to live with awareness, to appreciate the blessings that are present right now, and to act before opportunities slip away. This realization does not create fear alone, it also creates motivation and hope. A person who understands the value of these nights begins to approach them with greater focus, greater gratitude, and greater determination. Every prayer feels more meaningful